Creating a greeting card with PaintShop Pro is very easy. You only need to have some colors, some background, and designs to create it. You can use various templates available on the internet, but I'm going to be creating a custom size card and matching envelope. So I'm going to be using a script here and running the script. I'm going to be prompted for the size. Here I want to have the width at 1200. I'm going to be using the default. And for the height, I'm going to be using also the default. Now the script will create an envelope that will match the size of the card I gave. I will choose the rounded top or flap. And here's the template for the envelope, and now the template for the matching card. So those two will match perfectly in size. I can close this and let's minimize this to work on the card. The card is made of two layers, two separate layers, so I can manipulate them and decorate them each separately. I'm going to start with, so what I'm going to be doing is for the back of the card, so once it's folded, this is going to be the back. I'll activate the layer, select the magic wand, and select that area. I already picked one paper, a yellowish paper that I'm going to be using as a background. So I could do copy and paste and trim and all that, but I can just have it on my workspace and pick this pattern from the pattern tab here. This is my paper image, and I know it was really large, so I'm going to scale it down. Could be 30 or 40, it depends on what you want to look for. Since it's going to be covering the whole area, I don't need to create it on a different layer, so I'll just flood fill, and I deselect with Control D. Now for the front part of the card, I'll use again my magic wand, select it, and since I'll be using and I don't want to use the whole page for the same color, so I'm going to be using here the selection tool, and holding the Control key I can remove part of the selection. So I'm going to have just a vertical rectangle. It's going to be easier in this case to use a new layer, so I create a new raster layer and accept the default, and I will flood fill with the same pattern I had previously, and I deselect. As you can see, there's going to be a place here where it's going to show a fold, but that's fine because that's exactly where I want to fold it. Now back with the magic wand, I'll go to the basic rectangular shape, and I'll find a solid color that will match here. So I'll just pop up the material properties window and I'll choose color, and for the color I'll just go into my work area and that will get the color. I'll want it a little lighter, so I'll go down here and I have the color now in my material palette. I simply flood fill and deselect. So these are the backgrounds for my card. I'm going to be using another element that I have here, which is a set of banners. Since it was really large, I resized it to about 900 pixels wide, which is close to what I have as a card, and I click and drag onto the work. Now where is it? It's at the bottom here. So using my pick tool, I'll just bring it back up and I'll tweak it again so that this banner doesn't go under. I could change the layer order, and making sure that the mode is to scale, I can just either attach it to the edge here and have have it, the banners overlap the edge, or I could go and align just with the end here. Now let's add just a drop shadow. So effect, 3D effect, drop shadow. I don't want something too obvious. It's good enough like that. Now I have another element that I can use to decorate my page. It's a set of little stars, like scatters. So again, I click and drag onto my project. I'll minimize it. And here are my stars. I'll put them at the bottom. And again, I will resize for the correct width. And I'll add also a 3D effect with the drop shadow. Not something too obvious, but just at least something to make the elements pop. I'll reduce the blur because I don't want my elements to look like they're floating in the air. And that's it for now. And why not add some fun text? Maybe I'll want this burgundy color for my text, so I click on the background or fill properties, and my dropper will get this color, and I won't want any outline. So now it's time to activate the text tool, and I'll just type in here, "For you, Dad." I used a fancy lettering. You could use something bold, you can use something simple. It's really up to you. And when I'm done, I accept. However, I'd like to have those words centered, so I can change my alignment to center and accept it. Since it's pretty small, I can just enlarge it. Since it was scaled, you don't have to do anything fancy to get it to increase in size. So this will be the top of my card. Now the script actually created an envelope, a matching envelope. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to color the center of the envelope the same color I used for the card. So with my magic wand, making sure I'm activating the center part layer, I go back and activate here this color, and I flood fill. Since I'm doing the whole thing, since I'm doing the whole area, I don't need to create a new layer, so I deselect. Now I'll select the flaps, so one on the left. I activate the one on the right, and holding the shift key, I select it. Change layer, this is the bottom flap. Hold the shift key, select it, and I do the same for the top one, and I select it. Now I can go back and find a pattern that I had earlier. I won't change any setting. If I flood fill at this point, I'll have just each section separately. Since I want everything to be together, I can add a new layer and simply flood fill that area here. So the bottom ones, you can hide them if you want. You won't see them and you won't need them. So let's add now that little banner again, but I'll just have a piece of it. So I click and drag onto my work with the pick tool. I'll just put it on the side here so I can see only 3 banners. I'll add the 3D effect, so the drop shadow that I had, I'll use the same setting. And now it is time to remove the excess. So with the magic wand, activating that base layer, I'll select outside of it. Now reactivating the banners layer, I just hit the delete key and everything that's outside of that base rectangle will be deleted. Now why not add those little stars again on the flap? So I have these stars and I click and drag. Now I'm done with them. Just to make sure that everything is consistent, my little stars would need to be placed upside down on the flap. Even looking closely, they might look fine in that direction, but to make sure, I will just go with Image, Free Rotate. I'll do 180 degrees. Make sure that all layer is unchecked. Rotate single layer around the canvas center is unchecked because I don't want to have to go find it somewhere else. So I just click OK and my little stars were flipped. So with the pick tool, I take it and move those little stars onto the flap. Well, it looks, they don't show because they're under. So I'll just take those stars and move on top of the flap. Something like this. And I'll add again a drop shadow. Since I had to flip it around, I will have to invert my offset. So I'll do -2 and -2 with the same settings otherwise. And now you have your card. Once you're happy, you right click on top, merge, merge visible. Now you have only one layer. And I'll close this. I'll go get my card. I'll go get my card image. And I'll do the same. Right click, merge, visible. And now I have two images that I can print on my printer. And to do that, I go to File, Print Layout, and I'll just grab my envelope image and slide it onto the canvas here where I will be printing, and I hit the print key. I'm done with the envelope. I can just delete it, and I'll take the card and do the same. Make sure you don't resize anything because right now the envelope and the card will be perfectly matching in size. And I hit the print key. And that's it. Now you can close the print layout. You probably don't need to keep a template or anything, so click no. And now you have it. You created a fun card and matching envelope for your Father's Day card. It's that easy. Have fun.